I know I just talked about my predictions for Bayonetta 3 and my passing thoughts for the second game, but Platinum just dropped a new trailer right after the latest Nintendo Direct called The Ways of the Witch that explained all of the new mechanics, and I want to talk about them. I'm not going to reiterate what the trailer explains about each mechanic. Instead, I'll point out things that the trailer shows but doesn't outright state, and draw from outside sources to make some inferences about the new mechanics. The first new skill they show in the trailer is summoning infernal demons. The lower left corner of the screen displays the demons mapped to the top 3 buttons on the D-pad. It looks like Bayonetta can switch between the 3 at the press of a button to change the active demon. I'm not sure what the input is to summon a demon, but there are 2 important things to note with this new mechanic. First, demonic summons have historically only been reserved as the climax of major fights in the game. You fight a big enemy, and the game cuts to Bayonetta summoning a demon to finish it off in a QTE prompt. Now that summoning demons is integral to the combat, this means that we're likely to have a greater number of large enemies per fight, instead of a string of small skirmishes that end with a large mini-boss. This also means that enemies are probably chuffier than in past games, so we'll have to make good use of summons to deal considerable damage. Second, I think Demonic Summons was repurposed from another Platinum title that never got released.
You're up, big guy. God, what the hell was that for?
I know this hurts for everyone to look back on, but I need to talk about Scalebound for a bit. If you don't know what that is, Scalebound was a game that Platinum was developing for Microsoft. It never released, and there's a cloud surrounding the game regarding who is responsible for the game's indefinite freeze in production. What I want to point out is that having a human-sized character interacting with a kaiju-sized character isn't a new concept for Platinum, as they've been tinkering with the idea since Scalebound. However, the difference between Scalebound and Bayo 3 is how the characters interact. The player character Drew in Scalebound operates independently from his dragon partner, who acts primarily on AI. Drew can issue commands to the dragon, but he can never completely assume control of the dragon while they're both on foot. In Bayo 3, the demons seem to behave in various ways depending on their role in combat. They can be used to punctuate the end of a combo like a Wicked Weave Flourish. They can be used to counter incoming attacks, and they can be used to mix up combos along with Bayonetta's hand-to-hand moves. There's one function where it looks like Bayonetta's inputs are translated directly into her summons, but doing so, these are vulnerable to enemy attacks. That form looks the most like what Scalebound was doing with Drew and his dragon. There might still be set pieces in the game, as Bayonetta's been shown to ride on top of Gamora and Phantasmarine in earlier trailers. Letting the player control Bayonetta's summons has been toyed with in certain set pieces in Bayo 2, so it's cool to see it become a fully fleshed out mechanic in the third game. The other new skill shown in the trailer is a Demonic Masquerade. I was mostly right in my predictions that this would replace Umbran Climax as Bayonetta's double trigger. Changing forms doesn't consume any magic, but using the Masquerade Rage skill spends a meter underneath her health bar and allows her to perform Umbran Climax as well on Masquerade. Masquerade seems like it operates independently on which summons Bayonetta has on the D-pad. Instead, her form changes based on which demonic weapon she has actively equipped. The trailer shows her shifting to a spider form to climb alongside walls, which might replace the need for the full moon to perform witch walking. Hell, it looks like Demon Masquerade replaced Panther Within as Bayonetta's sprinting form. Besides showing off Bayonetta's new skills, the trailer also shows how Viola plays differently from Bayonetta. Instead of using 4 pistols like any other Umbran witch, Viola relies solely on her katana for melee attacks and magical darts she keeps lined inside her leather jacket for range attacks. And instead of dodging attacks to initiate witch time, Viola parries attacks with her katana. Metal Gear Rising fans can start eating again. I said in my Bayo 2 video that Platinum and Capcom seem to rip off each other, and I'm seeing it again with Viola when she summons Cheshire. It looks like it functions the same way as Bayonetta's demonic summons, but because the demon resides in her katana, she has to use hand-to-hand combos while the demon is active. It looks similar to Dante's Swordmaster skill in DMC3, where he pins an enemy with Rebellion and resorts to fist combos while the sword is stuck to an enemy. With the way demonic counters work with both Bayonetta and Viola, they seem to resemble the counter maneuvers you could do with Legions and Astral Chain. Besides the new mechanics, the trailer shows off some great quality of life improvements from past games. When an enemy staggers, the game displays a torture attack prompt over that enemy's head, and the prompt displays what kind of torture attack will occur, such as the wheel or a new missile attack. Hidden fights seem to have glowing beacons to signal their presence, which addresses a long-standing issue with Platinum titles where their hidden fights are too hidden. Consequently, they might be even further from the intended path to encourage more exploration, along with the added mobility of demonic masquerade forms. This is something I noticed, but Bayonetta seems to have a new spinning multi-arm Wicked Weave attack that she took from Acer when she fought him in Bayo 2. I'm still curious as to how the game will address health restoratives, as the demonic summons have replaced Bayonetta's inventory on the D-pad, and it doesn't seem like either summoning demons or demonic masquerade recover health like a proper double trigger. If Viola's parry is any hint, then Zandatsu's may return in a new form like how they did in Astral Chain. I noticed that there wasn't any spotlight on Jean's role in the story, so I think she might be relegated to a post-game content again, but I was hoping that she could be featured in a chapter or two, like V in DMC5. Also, I'm leaning more towards the theory that Viola is Bayonetta's and Luca's daughter. Her demon seems to manifest from a stuffed animal that looks a lot like Sarasita's Cheshire, and she has a grapple hook to move around like Luca. Every Bayonetta title has her interacting with a child character, so having her daughter in the third game seems like the logical conclusion. That's everything I could think of after watching the latest Bayo 3 trailer. We might get at least one more trailer to really spell out what the plot is about, but I think this is enough food for thought. All we can do now is wait patiently until the end of October.